We're live.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of our podcast. And our podcast is titled
We still like each other.
We Still Like Each Other. So I'm Stephanie,
I'm Travis.
and we're a married couple who still likes each other 5 years later.
Crazy.
So why did we pick this name?
We picked this name because it's the most common thing you'll hear when you get married. As soon as you tell someone you've gotten married, they'll say, "Oh, how long have you been married?" Like, "Oh, a year." "Oh, that's the honeymoon phase." You'll get over that those heart emojis in the eye. Like, and 5 years later, going on 6, like
We're still making people sick.
I like you more than ever now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's why we picked the name. I love the name. I think it's so us. And we always hated that negativity when we told people we were first married. Like, oh, or whenever you would do nice things for me, they'd be like, oh, that's going to phase. That's going to stop. Or you won't have as much sex down the line.
Yeah.
Things like that. And you're like, well,
Nope.
you know. And 5 years is still fresh. So
Yeah.
I challenge us to keep it going for the next 5 years. The next 10,
So
20.
we're like, "Oh, we've been married 10 years." But, "Oh, wait till you get to 20.
Right, they'll keep pushing the benchmark. All right, so introduce yourself. What do you want the world to know about you?
So like I said, my name's Travis. I'm 32 years old. I'm a Leo. Birthday coming up. I work in technology. It's a passion of mine even outside of my job. I work in corporate. One of the things that excited me the most about doing the podcast with my wife is getting to order all this cool equipment. So when she said we could do that, I was on board.
Okay, cool. So I'm Stephanie. I am Travis's wife. I am an educator. We are parents to a 7-year-old. We have a little boy on the way.
Bacon.
Yeah, he's baking in there. I'm an educator for New York City Department of Education. I also have a small tutoring business. And yeah, I guess there's a lot of other layers to me that we'll uncover little by little.
Black.
I don't have to give my whole... I'm a black woman, yeah.
Okay. It's important.
Yeah, it is. It is important. Especially if you're listening and you're
Yeah.
not watching the video and you're like, who are these
Like,
people?
ugh, I'm turning this off.
Whatever, that's fine. So why do you think people want to listen to us? Like, why do we have a podcast? What makes us think that it'll be successful?
So you're the person I speak to the most, and I think we have some very interesting conversations.
Okay.
Whereas, we joke about people who are having arguments like under the shade room post. Rather than do that, me and you will have that conversation.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, it's never, we're just both agreeing with one another. I think that we battle. It's never like I immediately agree with you or you immediately agree with me, or we see it from each other's side. So it's good discourse between one another.
I feel like sometimes, even if we can't agree, we'll realize, like, I get why you feel the way you feel. Like, your identity, your life experiences lead your perception to be slightly different than mine, and that's okay. Yet we also know when, okay, it's time for our perception to change and grow based on where we are now.
Yeah, definitely. Like
where the world is now.
I'm not the same person that met you in that bar many moons ago.
Yeah.
And it's growth, and there's nothing wrong with growth.
I've definitely grown too, positive ways.
Okay.
All right. So I feel, since this is the introduction episode, and based on what we post on social media, a lot of people probably think like we're the picture perfect couple, right?
Far from it.
like we're goals. Well, don't say it like that. Sheesh.
But I mean,
we
like
alright.
anyone whose goals is not goals. Like there's so many layers to what someone would make someone would view us as goals. Like we're not maybe surface level,
Yeah.
but there's so much things that go on behind the scenes that it takes work and hard conversations. And I think the fact that we're willing to do that, if you want to say we're goals because we put in the work, then I'll take that.
And social media is, like many people have been saying, is a highlight reel.
Exactly.
So we have moments in our life that we're proud of, and if it motivates people, if it encourages people, I don't want to take that away from anyone, but I also don't want to be fake. I feel like what's different about our Instagram platforms versus this podcast and this YouTube channel is that we get to get a little deeper, so that people can see a more realistic side to relationships. And, it's not always rainbows and butterflies. So I was going to say we should rewind back to that first year of our relationship, because it was probably the toughest.
Okay.
That first year before we got married.
The first year before we got married. All right, take it away.
All right. So for those of you that don't know us, we were engaged 8 months after dating and married within a year. Those first 8 months, you would think you got engaged in 8 months, so it must have been magical. But we had the toughest parts of our relationship in those first 8 months. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Okay.
The first thing that we should, admit or bring out to the open is that when we first met, we were both being unfaithful to people at the time.
Damn, we taking it there.
Yeah, I feel like, infidelity is a bad thing. I'm never going to try to say it's good. But we also have to sometimes take a step back and realize the world doesn't revolve around us. And sometimes certain things happen for a reason. And people who are meant to be together sometimes meet in shady circumstances,
Yeah.
I'm not saying keep cheating on your partner until you find your husband. That's not what I'm saying. But
he's out there.
He's out there. No, but life shit happens sometimes, and you can't beat yourself up about it forever. You got to acknowledge it and take it for what it is. All right. So we met at a bar.
It was pre-technology. We weren't on a, not pre-technology, but we weren't on a dating app, or we weren't looking for one another.
Dating apps were already there, but you were in a relationship.
I was in a
relationship.
relationship.
So was I.
So we had a mutual friend who invited us, or I had a friend who invited me out for his birthday, and she had a friend who invited her out for the same birthday. And since it was around your birthday, I don't think you had done much.
I didn't have any birthday plans. It was the weekend of my birthday.
And you hadn't done much. Mm-hmm. So you went out too.
Yeah.
Now, anyone who knows me knows Travis rarely goes out. Mm-hmm. Not that I'm always home, but I'd say a good 90%. I'll go out. I like to dress up and look nice every once in a blue. So I went out.
Yeah.
And which was even weirder is that the friend was more so a friend of my brother's, but I still went. And I went by myself, which all these things doesn't sound like Travis at all.
Yeah.
So I get there and you're there.
So all that to say, you were meant to be there that day to meet me. Because it's not even in your nature.
Yeah.
It's not in you to just be out. I had no plans, and the reason I didn't have plans was because I had just had our son. He was 4 months old, and
how'd you do that?
We'll get into that. We'll get into that. So my son was 4 months, and I was broke. I didn't go back to work yet, and And I just didn't want to plan anything. But then a couple of days beforehand, I hit up my friend, like, I've been like so grumpy about my birthday, but let's go out. Let's do something. So she goes, well, I have these plans. Just join me. Perfect. So it was last minute as well that I went out. And it sounds corny and people don't believe me. But the minute I saw you, I felt something. Like, I don't know. I say like, oh, love at first sight, but it could have been lust. Like, I could have just been attracted to you in a way that, like, I don't know, but I felt it immediately. I know you always are like, okay, you really didn't. You were
no,
like,
of course I found you attractive. The way you describe it, I don't want to lie and say I was like,
yeah.
But you were definitely someone I had my eyes on.
Okay.
And I'm happy that I had a reason to speak to you.
Yeah.
Because, like I've said to you many a times, I'm not the type to just go up to a random woman and be like, hey, how are you? So the fact that we were all within the same group, there was a reason for us to have a conversation.
Yeah. So obviously I was in a relationship, you were in a relationship, so we probably wouldn't have just started talking.
Yeah.
But then there was a guy there that was really drunk and all up in my personal space, like I was uncomfortable. So then, I took the opportunity to kind of come closer to you and kind of like make it seem like we were together so that this other guy that was gross and sloppy drunk and all over me could kind of give me some space. And you like took the hint, right?
Yeah, I think it was like the eyes, like those
yeah,
help
like I
me
looked
eyes.
at you like, and I got big eyes, so.
And it's still like, even that part of the story is like so uncharacteristic of me. Like, someone's like giving you the help me eyes, and I just kind of jumped in. And I can't remember play for play, but basically just kind of swooped in and made it seem like we were established. So he got the hint eventually.
Yeah.
And in that, conversing and
it went from 0 to 100 real quick.
There was a lot of making out. Like, I don't remember kissing that much ever.
It felt like high school.
Or junior high school for me. But it was intense, like a lot of kissing. Like, yeah. Yeah.
So then we had a great night. We looked like a couple.
Yeah. We even have a picture from that night.
From that night. And you would have never thought it was the day we met. Like, yeah, we looked like we were married already.
And then I fumbled the ball.
Then he fumbled the ball. So it's the end of the night. We're like downtown Manhattan. And he has a car. So anybody who knows me, I already just assumed like it's his job to drive me home. Like, that's just the expectations I have of a person. And we just spent the whole night making out, looked like a couple. And then he kind of just was like, oh, should I walk you to the train?
In hindsight, it was probably that slight fear of, I'm in a relationship. Like,
and fuck? So am I. You're going to drop me off in front of my apartment.
Yeah, it was fun. It was like, all right, time to go back to reality. Like, that bubble we created that night was amazing.
But it was just that. It was a night.
It was a night. So on one end, yeah, if I was a single man, hell yeah, fumbled it. The man in a relationship, all right,
that was like the right thing to do.
The right thing to do would have been nothing. But let's get back on track and take your ass home. Yeah. So that's where that was. Yeah. But I will say, before we left, I was like, take my number, and you were very apprehensive. You're like, no. But I was like, no, listen, this is where the game came out. I was like, listen, even if you use it next week, a month, a year from now, just, I just want you to have my number. She took it. And I think shortly after, we might have started following each other on social media. But
we never spoke about that night at all.
Yeah, we
didn't even speak, really.
I think I found her on social media maybe the next day or the day after. And there was never like a DM. It was just like, now we're in each other's social media world. And
it was before like stories. It was just post on Instagram.
Yeah. And none of that. I saw her posting. She would post her son she would post her son's father at the time, and I remember I would just like, those salty likes, like, like this clown, like. But I'm in a relationship, so I'm just.
And you never posted her.
I think I posted her once, like on an anniversary.
But it didn't even say like happy anniversary. It was like
my dog.
Some like cryptic. So that's another point. Like, I kind of wasn't really hiding that I was in a relationship when we met, or that I had a 4-month-old son. You weren't hiding it, but you kind of just omitted it. Like, you didn't say anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, we kind of went in our separate ways, and then 8 months later, when my relationship was like done, I kind of shoot my shot. Shot my shot.
Shot your shot.
I basically went to his Instagram and liked a bunch of pictures in a row, like to nudge him. And you slid in my DMs on March 18th. I won't forget. And what happened after that?
I mean, it was as intense as that night. It was like full, like 0 to 60, like quick. And
we were talking nonstop.
And then we met up, and from that time, it was just like, after that one meetup, it was like back to back to back to back.
It's like after work, you come to my house. Like, we were just hanging out like every day. Within like 2 weeks, you like met my son, because we were just hanging out so much. And I was like, well, I'm not dropping my son off every time we want to hang out. Yeah. So, yeah. And then things got a little crazy.
They got crazy.
It took a while though. Like, we were in that. So, disclaimer, you were still in a relationship.
Yes, I was in was it 7-year relationship? Like a 7-year.
But I had no idea that you were still in this relationship.
Yeah, when she reached out again, she had no idea.
No.
And that, I won't say anything negative about that relationship.
Yeah.
It
served its purpose.
Exactly. But yeah, that it just wasn't a healthy relationship. And to me, the fact that I was even entertaining you was even the biggest sign that it wasn't for me. Mm-hmm. I don't want to get too much into detail about like all the small things that happened.
Okay, so my question is, we've discussed this, but for everybody listening, what were you thinking? Because it was like a few months of it, like March, April, May, June. I think even July. It wasn't until like August until everything blew up. So what was your plan in the moment? Like, do you remember? Like, what were you thinking?
I don't remember having a plan. I don't think I realized how serious things were going to get between me and you. And then when it got to the point where it was like, I'm about to lose it all, it was time to, for lack of a better term, man up and do right.
It wasn't that easy, folks.
It wasn't that easy.
He basically had an ultimatum at one point.
Yeah.
So, y'all ready for this? This is where the heat gets turned up. This is why I know it was like August, because I went back to school, and I think it was like the beginning of the semester, like that end of August, beginning of the semester time. And you kind of went ghost on me one day. And like we said, we were nonstop talking, seeing each other. And I didn't think of like a jealous person. I didn't think like anything that way. I was literally concerned. I was worried. And then when you resurfaced that later that day, you basically told me that your ex showed up at your job and was making a scene and wanting answers, wanting to talk to me. And as a woman, I knew that she wasn't doing that out the blue. Like, something in my soul was like, why is she coming up now and feeling this way now? Like, he's leading her on. Like, I ain't stupid. And I'm like, why does she want to speak to me? So then I was trying to be sneaky, and I went to reach out to her. And at the time, I know Facebook messages, like if you weren't friends with the person, it will go like in a separate little inbox.
Yeah.
That
Like something for you to approve.
For something for you to approve. So for the past several months, she had been trying to reach out to me, but I didn't notice. I never noticed the situation. So everything hit me like a ton of bricks at once, like boom, 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 boom. Like, oh my God, these past few months where you've been so smitten have been a lie. Like I kind of felt betrayed. And I know it's not that it was a lie. It was complicated. You know, we're past that. But in the moment,
yeah,
you know, I felt stupid, you know, for lack of a better word. So, you know, me being devious, me and her start communicating. And for me at the moment, I was like, I'm done with this man. It's over. Like, oh my God, I can't believe like I felt this way. Like, and this is like, I love you. It's like, we were already talking about marriage and you were still in another relationship, which was crazy, you know? So then her and I decide.
I didn't know we were going to tell this story. By the way.
You didn't know we were going to tell the story?
I read
Are you ready?
I read the notes, but I didn't see tell Travis's shitty past.
They're going to come at you with pitchforks. So then I start messaging Travis, but I'm not really letting him know that me and her communicated.
Yeah, she sounded A-okay.
I was pretending.
I thought I was out the doghouse.
I deserve an Oscar.
I was like, let's go get dinner.
Let's go get dinner.
With my friend / coworker and his wife.
Uh-huh.
And she's like, great, come pick me up. And I went. She came out the house looking great.
Yeah.
She got in the car. We held hands. She rubbed my hand. I was like, oh.
But I couldn't kiss him. Yo, it's so funny. I had put like a lot of lipstick on, and I used as an excuse not to kiss you, because one thing about me, like, I can't be intimate with someone that I'm annoyed with or I don't like, you know? So that was like my plan. I was like, I'm putting this lipstick on. I'm gonna say I can't kiss him because I couldn't. So we get to dinner, and what happens?
So we get to dinner. My friend and his wife are there, and another friend who lived in the building next to the restaurant happened to be there too. So it's them three, me and Steph, and we're just talking. She orders a drink. We're just, you know, kikiing. And I remember this moment so vividly because this has happened to us on previous dates where we're just out, whether it's a bar or dinner, and she will see someone she knows. It's just so random. It's happened. For some reason, it happened multiple times. So she gets up, and I'm just thinking to myself, here we go again.
She knows
somebody here, and she's saying hi. So she gets up, and she goes, hey, girl. And I still didn't even break my neck until the person came closer, and I see my ex. And
wow, so devious.
If it was like the best way I could describe it is like an anime, like you just see my soul leaving my body. Just so she pulls up a seat.
Yep.
Orders a drink.
Yep.
And they're both just there looking at me, and I feel like Steph must have been rehearsing this, or I can't remember who said it, but the line was, so do you have any more lies to tell us? That was I can't remember who said it, but yeah, that's what was said. And I'm just like, I'm looking at my friend, looking at his wife, looking at my other friend. I'm just like,
I do remember that I wanted to be more like, fuck him. Let's chill. Let's have this drink. But she was a little more heated.
Yeah.
So when you noticed she was like a little more heated, I think your friend texted you like, just go, bro.
So I remember I just got an Apple Watch. I was like maybe like the first generation Apple Watch. And I got a text. He's like, just go get your car and leave. So I just got up, and they were probably talking shit to me while I was leaving. Mm-hmm. And I just got my car and I went home. I think I may have tried calling you once, or I can't remember if you. Well,
you were calling me nonstop.
No, I was calling you Yeah. So I was calling you nonstop. I think at some point you did pick up, and you might have picked up like a FaceTime or something, and it was like you and her. Or no, sorry, you were on Snapchat. And you and her were like in a cab getting ready to go out.
So after that, her and I, we kind of just hung out the rest of the night. Like, we went out someplace in Brooklyn. I think I went to her cousin's house. We were like, niggas ain't shit. And, like, you know, having a ball. But you wouldn't stop calling me. You wouldn't stop calling me. You wouldn't stop calling me. And as a woman, I started to notice, like, that was kind of hurting her a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you weren't calling her. You were calling me. But I really, at that moment, was like, I'm done with him.
Fuck it.
Like, fuck it. And she would encourage me to pick up or whatever and, like, to fuck with you.
So I remember I got home. I tried to sleep. I couldn't sleep. It was like, and I woke up maybe 3 or 4 in the morning, and I tried her again. And she picks up. And she, you know, attitude. What? And I said, like, I just want to come see you. I just want to talk to you. And she agrees. She says, all right, come over. Come talk to me. And mind you, I'm in Brooklyn. She's in the Bronx.
Were you in Brooklyn or Long Island?
I was in Brooklyn.
Okay.
It's like 3 to 4 in the morning. I get in my car. I broke every speed limit, you know, on the highway. I get there in, like, let's say 30 minutes. And anyone who knows that drive from Brooklyn to the Bronx can be long. So I pull up, park my car at I think it's like at a hydrant, because, you know, it's like, I just need to get in the house. So she opens the door. As soon as she opens the door, I start to, like, plead my case. She's like, my roommate's here. I don't want to have this conversation here. Let's go in the room. So we go in the room. I'm in front of her. She's behind me. So I go in the room. She didn't have a door. She had a sheet or a curtain. Mm-hmm. So I pull the curtain back, and my ex is still here.
We literally hung out the whole night.
Like, literally still here.
And the only reason I picked up and agreed to let you come in is because she was like, time to come. Like, you know, she kind of was enjoying that whole, like, messing with you.
Yeah.
And whatever.
So, we sit down. I remember I'm sitting on the bed. Steph is sitting next to me. And then there's a little chair in front of the bed where my ex is sitting. And I'm just pleading my case. Like, I love you. I'm sorry. Da, da, da. Like, I'm honed in on her, just like this podcast, like, just focused. I don't see anything over here. I'm just like, I love you. I'm sorry. And I'm saying, and I think at one point I kind of threw a jab at her, saying, like, listen, she's enjoying this. This is what she wanted. Mm-hmm. And that goes on for a while. And I guess she must have got annoyed and was like, I'm going to leave. Mm-hmm. Girl, I'm going to leave. And I think you said something to the effect of, listen, text me when you get home. Mm-hmm. Like, not, I think what would have been the girl code thing to say was, nah, let him leave.
I think I tried that. But she kind of was feeling like, I could see where this is going. So
she left. We spoke for hours. And it wasn't resolved in that night, but it was in a place I didn't think it was going to go. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, how much are we telling?
Well, yeah, I feel like after that, we kind of worked on us. You know, it wasn't like a straight path, but this was like end of August-ish. I feel like I might be messing up the timeline a little bit. Yeah. But by the end of September, you were moved in with me. Mm-hmm. And by Thanksgiving, we were engaged, despite all of that. Yeah.
I mean, I mean, obviously, we've had this conversation dozens of times. But, mm-hmm. you know, just for anyone out there listening, everything that happened, like, obviously I know every step that I took that was wrong, mm-hmm. but I'm happy that it happened in a way because, you know, I love where we are now. Yeah. And if those things didn't happen, like, we wouldn't be together. And yeah.
So, and again, it wasn't like just we got engaged, we got married, and it's been happily ever after. Like, the pain caused by all of that has led to, you know, trust issues and moments of insecurity and questioning, like, you know, what if in a few years you're smitten by someone else? Yeah. And then I'm in the position that she was in, you know, like, all those things come to mind. So there's this quote that I saved. So I follow this page on Instagram. His name is Young Pueblo. And he says, if the pain was deep, you'll have to let it go many times. So it's not as easy as like forgiving someone and being done. I feel like a lot of times I hear people say that, well, if you got back with him, then you can't be insecure. Well, if you forgave them, well, then you know what. No, like, you still deal with it over and over and over. And it sounds cliche, but time helps, you know.
Yeah. And also not just time. I think also having the conversation. Like,
yeah,
you can't just pretend like it didn't happen.
It
Like
didn't
we can't pretend like it's not a part of our story.
mm-hmm.
It's unfortunate, but it's a part of our story, and we're stronger for it.
Yeah.
Obviously, I wish like our story was perfect. Like, we met at a bar, we didn't talk for 9 months, but then we reconnected, and we're both single, and we loved each other so much.
Yeah.
And I don't. For me, it doesn't take away from how much I love you.
Yeah.
It doesn't take away from our love story. If anything, it just goes to show that sometimes the people you say are goals have like bumps in the road.
I do also I don't wanna encourage like women having to put up with shit until their man changes, you know? Like, I always criticize, like, you know, like the Beyonce's, you know, her Lemonade, and she was like exposing Jay-Z, did all this shit. And it's like, women don't have to go through pain before finding happiness. What I will say that in our situation, that's unique, you know, every situation is different. We were very in tune with our life experiences and understanding where we were at certain points and how it had nothing to do with us. But now that we did find each other, it was like, okay, what are we gonna do so that we can be together in a way that's healthy, productive, and positive?
Yeah.
And it wasn't like a cycle of infidelity or deceit from that moment on.
Yeah.
It was like you were in this 7-year relationship that was toxic, on and off, in and out, whatever. You found comfort in that. I was dealing with someone who clearly wasn't the person for me, but you know, I've admitted before to you and to my friends, I have codependency issues sometimes, you know, like I would rather have been with someone than to be alone. And we were with the back and forth. It was also very toxic. And, you know, I was pregnant with my son, and, you know, you try to have the family, you try to make it work, but there wasn't like true love and passion in the way that we felt it, even in that toxic year, like something that was drawing us in. So we had to help each other navigate where we were coming from and help each other heal, to trust each other and be together. So my point was, it's not the same as someone who's constantly cheating on you or constantly gaslighting you. You know, remember you said having those difficult conversations and not pretending it didn't happen. So when I did have my moments of insecurity, or like I would just bring it up, like I'll just have moments where everything would come back, and you had to live through it again with me and help me through it again instead of calling me crazy.
There were a few times I would say, like in the beginning, where I'm like, come on, I thought we're moving past this. But then just like with anything, there's growth and realizing that this is her process and this is the person I want to be with. So I'm going to figure out whatever this process is and help her through it, because I don't want to go anywhere. Yeah. And this is what I created. This is my own doing. So it's not going to be as simple as she forgave me and we move on. It's going to be like, no, we got to, if it comes up, if I say a word that triggers her, we got to talk about it. And, you know, I'll say that married 5 years, like I don't feel like it's a thing that's happened, and at least I don't remember. Like, I don't know how you feel, but it's not something we've had to discuss. So I think we're in a really, like, I feel like we're at our strongest and we'll only get stronger.
Absolutely. So that was we're not perfect, but we are working hard every day. He's sweating. He didn't know we were going to talk about this. You know, I just don't want to be fake.
Phony.
I don't want to be phony. But there's also a lot of women who I know that are putting up with ain't shit ass people, and it's not the same, you know? Like, everybody has their own process, but I feel like I can't help my friend. I can't give her advice about who she's dealing with if I'm not 100% honest about what we went through.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like it makes me a little bit more relatable as well, you know? Like, you can get through certain things in a relationship, as long as when you get out of that situation, it's just growth and respect and dedication to your union, your commitment, you know, not a cycle of disrespect and emotional abuse. You know. How you feeling?
I'm good. It's weird talking about it. It's not weird talking about it. It's weird that so many people are gonna see and hear us talk about it. But I think knowing where we are now, I'm okay talking about it.
Yeah.
It's not fresh. We're in a great place. So
yeah. Love you.
Love you more.
All right. So I think we're gonna like cut this part. This is gonna be like our part 1 of this episode, right? Yeah.
Like an intro to
like
who we are.
Like an intro to who we are and a big part of our story. But I'm the type of person, I have a short attention span. If I see something's like 30 minutes long, I'm more likely to watch it and listen than if it's an hour. Yeah. So we're going to kind of switch gears. We're going to get into a different topic, and that'll be part 2 of this video. Yeah. You ready?
Ready.
All right.